I think for both Take Part and Transformational Funding, the feedback we've had from officers, elected members, community, has been tremendous.
I think the Transformation Fund for people in Barnsley has been a really, really positive experience. It's offered people in Barnsley opportunities that they otherwise wouldn't have had.
I think it's motivating to hear what other people are doing and learn from that and think how you could adapt that information to improve what you're doing yourself.
If you work with people in the right way and make them feel good about who they are and their experiences, they then are able to build on those and go on to help others.
But this particular project came as a result of 3 or 4 years worth of work around what is now called Active Citizenship Learning, based primarily in South Yorkshire. And we built up a body of courses and activities and partners, and we were really keen to sustain some of that work and indeed to do some new work. So when the Transformation Fund money became available, we naturally looked at it and grabbed the opportunity. We had a large steering group, and we were particularly keen to include councils outside of the areas that we'd worked before. So we had the 4 South Yorkshire councils, Rotherham, Barnsley, Doncaster and Sheffield, but York joined us as well, which was really exciting. Then in addition to the councils, we had the regional TUC and Union Learn, also Take Part, the national network, and NIACE itself, National Institute of Adult and Continuing Education, and Parliamentary Outreach and the Regional Empowerment Partnership. So I think that meant there was 11 representatives on the steering group, which has met 4 times during the life of the project.
The experience has been of working with people who are really keen to promote the importance of learning around active citizenship. The partnership is full of people who know the importance of the agenda and are keen to promote it.
This has given us the opportunity, really, to do some very clear political education about politics, ideas, issues, mechanisms, functions, the skills needed to become engaged, the knowledge that's necessary to understand what's going on.
I think the major involvement has been doing this duty to involve day schools in the local authorities. And the theme is the duty to involve. What is the council's statutory duty? But I suppose I try to put it in the general context of what's happening to our communities and what's happening to our cities, really.
It was clear that there was this tremendous network of links of people who'd worked together, or their parents had worked together in the same workshop, and then this sense of the loss of community and the loss of institutions, really.
And there's been a good cross-fertilisation, I suppose, of different ideas from different sorts of people. So the local authority workers, obviously the officers, often don't sit in the same room for any length of time with the people they're meant to be providing services for.
Probably for one of the first times we'd brought together Residents' Association representatives and parish clerks. And both had an image of each other, I think, which was, barriers were broken down and myths were dispelled about who they were. You know, the parish clerks weren't posher than anybody else, and the Residents' Association's representatives were very articulate, motivated, you know, and I think they came together as a group of people, whereas before they wouldn't have necessarily mixed because there was no reason to, or there was no mechanism for them to get together.
The importance of enabling people to become critical thinkers and to challenge and to be difficult and to be dogged, if you like, in certain circumstances, but to understand why they need to be dogged and why sometimes they don't succeed, you know, so that they don't become, as a result of that process, disenchanted, demoralised. I mean, it seems to me that's very important.
And I think The Transformation Fund has given people, in some cases, a taster of that and has really motivated them to learn more and to find out more about the way local and national politics operates.
It was about revisiting why you did what you did and how you got there, which gives you a bit of a shot in the arm to keep doing it rather than getting bogged down in the paperwork and the report writing and the evidence basing and all the rest of that stuff. I think that's what was important.
We've been able to work with different communities, whether it's been on a geographical level or whether it's elder groups like BME communities, women, young people, disabled people.
All those preconceived ideas, people will say young people aren't interested in politics, they're hungry for it, or those that we've come up against are hungry for it. We're working from primary right up to secondary sixth form and a little bit beyond, it's turned out, and there's nothing more heartwarming than the sight of 30, 40 children sat cross-legged on the floor with voting buttons, deciding what was going to happen. Absolutely fantastic.
Well, that was one part of the job. The other thing was writing stuff, really. And we wrote some pamphlets about climate change, about e-democracy, using the new technologies and seeing if they would actually help the democratic process, and about racism, which is what I wrote about, and migration, and there was the final one was about Women Be Heard, it was called. It was trying to raise the profile of women in public life. And they'll be on the web. And the notion is they'll be useful for people who might want to talk about those issues in groups.
I was able to offer my views and suggestions, and that felt quite good. And having come back to a recent meeting now and seen the material that's been produced, I feel that some of those debates and issues have been thought through, and it's reflected in the material that's been produced.
To us it's been important insofar as the particular training course that was run for women, trade union members. The women who took part in it were very enthusiastic and well motivated.
If you work with people in the right way and make them feel good about who they are and their experiences, they then are able to build on those and go on to help others.
There's a view that they're only a small person and what they do is irrelevant, but once they combine with others in some sort of collective organisation, they then realise they can make an impact. However small it is, they can start to make an impact, and that increases the confidence to do more.
I think people wanted the networking, an opportunity to meet and talk to other people who are doing similar kinds of work and find out information of what else was going on and so on. So they certainly wanted that networking experience, but they also wanted the kind of positive feedback from discussing with other people who are in similar kind of positions. Our particular role has been to use the money to develop an organisation, a network called RACLA is the acronym, which is a Regional Active Citizenship Learning Alliance. Bit of a mouthful. And RACLA brings together all the people and organisations involved in active citizenship learning in the region.
Towards the end of the project, we've had two big events. One was the national dissemination event in Birmingham with people from across the country, from trade union organisations, the voluntary sector, faith organisations, universities, local authorities. A very diverse group of people and organisations.
We've had tremendous feedback about the conference, about the value of the resources that have been produced, and people are wanting to carry on networking. There's been a strong interest in carrying on networking, and that will probably happen through things like the Take Part, Pathfinder and the Community Development Foundation networks. But the key thing really is that people have had awareness raised about this agenda and are really keen and enthused to take it forward.
And then following that, we had a visit to Parliament with people coming from a variety of different courses across the project.
It's interesting. Some people have never even really been to London. So apart from going to Parliament, it's actually getting to London, which is important. And then obviously once we get to Parliament, you're overawed by the grandeur of the building. then we met up with some MPs, which we fixed up beforehand, and had a discussion with them. And what was really good, there's a little group of people. What was lovely to see how sparky they were, and how they were going places, and how they wanted to ask questions, how they wanted to find out, and they weren't in any way intimidated or just browbeaten. It was good, very, very good.
People have been able to go on the visit to the Parliament, learn how they've been actually contributing to the national picture, engage with their MPs, engage with the councillors. It's tremendous how they've linked the local politics to the national politics, and that for me has been very pleasing. I don't think they would have had that opportunity otherwise.
So I think when they had the opportunity to be part of Prime Minister's questions, and also the day that we went was the budget, the day that the budget was announced, I think seeing that happening for real, in real life, was really inspiring for them. And I think for those people who perhaps haven't voted before, that will be the change. That trip will be the thing that will make them tick the box come the elections.
And I suppose most importantly of all, and really most directly relevant to this project, whether you're talking about the 18th of March event down in Birmingham, or the visit to Parliament on the 24th of March, or the individual courses, what they all have in common is a lot of feedback that says people are going to do things, they're going to become involved in things, they want to change things, they may be going to become more engaged in politics, in the broadest sense, not just voting, but active politics, and they've hitherto been. And so that's what it's about.